37 Bodhisattvas practice by the Gyasi Uchutome Rinpoches. Before we undertake this activity of the studies, we should generate perfect kind mind or altruistic attitude, which is the mind of the enlightenment or bodhicitta. And that is very, very important, because in the relatively everything is inevitably dependently, all the phenomena are arising through the interdependently or dependently. And in the relative realities, everything is goes unmistakably, which is whatever we have caused, and according the result of the cause is inevitable. And therefore, in the relatively, we need to take care about our attitude and conduct. And also that perspective in the relatively, of course, everything is good or bad, is totally depends the different circumstances, but entirely depends our own motivation or the attitude. And also, of course, some in the philosophical perspective, difficult to say the time is substantially existence, but in the relatively we have 3 times past, present, futures. And then, according to that, we need to look at the present our situations. The present our situation is happy or sorrow. It entirely depends the attitude and conduct of the past. And in the futures, difficult to see what will happen for us, but maybe we can to imagine, to kind of to concerning what will happen for us in the futures. Maybe we can to look at the present our conduct and attitudes, and the future will be happy or not entirely depends on our present attitude and the conduct. And that is the very much self-responsibilities. It is not responsibility of the Buddha or God to the others. If we follow up the Buddha's step, and when we listen to his message, he said that your protector is yourself, and your guide is yourself, and your liberator is yourself. Beside that, who can to help to you, and who can protect to you, who can to make a liberate to you. And he said, I cannot take your suffering by my hand. I cannot wash your darkness, obscuration in your mind by the water. And you need to take out your sufferings. You need to wash, purify your inside mind dirty. And I give you some methods. If you use these methods, then you can do it. Why? Because I did that. And therefore he said, something is found in my mind. Some great, profound peace, extraordinary, which is bring to us direct into the happiness, and also it can to eliminate our own sorrow. And therefore, of course, whatever we undertake activities, first time is very important to check our motivation or the attitude. There is different degrees of the attitude. And here is the quote in the Mahayana vehicles. We need great attitude concerning all the sentient beings' benefit. And to saying, may all the sentient beings quickly, urgently, to be free from the sufferings. May all the sentient beings quickly, urgently, to be happiness. This kind of wish or attitude or thought is very important. And it is the benefit for ourselves, it is the benefit for others. And this is there's a text says, the root of everything is good, or root of all the good things, which is the mind of the enlightenment or the Bodhisattva. All the good things comes from the Bodhisattva, or kind mind, kind attitude. If we have this attitude, then we study, listen, reflect, meditate, everything is turned into the positive, turned into everything is virtues. And therefore, at the beginning, we need to remind each other to say, please generate your great, the bodhicitta, or kind mind, precious mind, which is the mind of the enlightenment. And then we are going to study. And of course, quoting some Nananda's tradition, or Nananda University traditions, there's kind of 5 steps when we study different Shastra or the commentaries which is related to the Buddha's teachings. And the first is we need to listen who's author, who wrote these commentaries. Here is the author is the quote that Jasi Rinpoche on Rinpoche. He was great one Buddhist master. He is like a single in his life. He became the Buddhahood, and he became the great and great master for the Buddhist perspective. And of course, he has such biographers. Maybe we can to live there, and maybe if you are interested, of course it is very important. Maybe you can to ask the Mr. Google, but it's difficult to find. But there are some his stories or biographies. But anyway, he was great Bodhisattva. Of course, he's in the enlightenment during his singer in this life. And he has 1,000 and 1,000 followers, and he has many books, all talking about the way of the Bodhisattvas and emphasize Bodhisattva's attitude, Bodhisattva's conduct. And therefore he has a great ability to write commentary for the Buddha's teachings. And he has fully authorities in order to write commentary for the Buddha's teachings. He has such realization of his individual deities. He has such permission to write commentary from his individual teachers. And also he is a great learned scholar for all the three Tripitakas, which is the Buddha's teachings. And therefore he has all the abilities of all the qualities in order to write books or the commentaries for the Buddha's teachings. And therefore he wrote this 37 Bodhisattvas practice. And also the 37 Bodhisattvas practice is entirely these books. It is talking about the practice of Bodhisattvas. And also is why we need to study the practice of the Bodhisattvas, which is the Bodhisattva's attitude and conduct. Because there is the verse, it says, all the happiness, good things, comes from the bodhicittas. And also is like how to practice perfect or correctly bodhicitta is entirely depends the Bodhisattva's activities or the practice. And it is very important when we practice such good quality or good path exclusively and unknowing how to practice Bodhisattva's path. And if we correctly to practice the Bodhisattva's practice, then we can to be same as level of the Bodhisattvas. And therefore is like explaining about the Bodhisattva's practice. And entirely in this book, inside it, is principally, of course, compassion, wisdom, but emphasize Bodhisattva's attitude and the conduct. And of course, it is related to all the Buddha's teachings and the sutta and the tantras, and especially is connected to the sutta and especially in the Sutta Tipitakas. And this purpose of these entire books, it is for the benefit whoever wants to practice Bodhisattva's practice. And it's the secondary purpose. If someone wants to practice this Bodhisattva practice, 100% this person is well become enlightenment. Therefore, there is the 5 like kind of the stage, 5 steps, or the entire these commentaries related to these 5. And this is like necessary to telling to the one before we study. And then in this book itself, it is the virtue of the beginnings, and the virtue of in the middle, the virtue of the conclusions. Which is the virtue of the beginnings. There is the title and homage and commitment. And then it's like in the middle in the virtues, there are the principle and these shastras, and then the end virtues of these books, the dedications. And also there is a saying that the beginning of the virtues, the virtue of the beginners. Generally speaking, in the Buddha's teachings,